Hi, everyone. Welcome. We'll give folks just a couple minutes here to get connected, and we'll get started. Okay, great. Before we dive into the presentation, hi, my name is Kaya, and I'm the marketing director here at Heller Consulting. And today's presentation is all about Salesforce Education Cloud. All of your attendee lines have been muted to ensure high quality audio. And today's webinar will run until 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and a recording will be sent to you tomorrow. And finally, we encourage you to ask any questions, and thank you to those who've sent your questions ahead of time. So if you have any questions throughout, please put those in the question box. I'll be monitoring that, and we will do our best to answer all of them at the end of the hour today. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our two speakers today. First up is Jennifer. Jennifer, could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and the role you have here at Heller?
Sure thing. Hi, Kaya. My name is Jennifer Thal. I'm the business lead for the Salesforce practice here at Heller Consulting. So that means that I'm a member of Heller's senior leadership team, and I oversee our team of Salesforce consultants as well as our portfolio of Salesforce projects. Right now, I think I've been with Heller for just shy of 10 years. It'll be 10 years next month. So what that means is that I've seen a lot of Salesforce projects of different shapes and sizes and configurations over those years. And I've also seen Salesforce itself change quite a bit in that time frame. So I'm looking forward to talking more about Education Cloud today.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm also joined by Shane. Shane, hi. If you could please introduce yourself and the work you do here at Heller.
Great, thanks Kaya and Jennifer. Hi everyone, my name is Shane Sugino. I lead our higher education business and am responsible for our overall higher ed go-to-market strategy. I work with all of our prospects and clients to determine which Heller services are a good fit. And since the higher ed consulting space is a very collaborative space, I also spend a good deal of my time managing all of the partnerships that we've developed over the years. I've been with Heller of exactly 3 years. It's my 3rd year anniversary this month. And I've been in the higher ed space for over 16 years. I actually started off as a user of Salesforce during my time working at Northwestern University. And I transitioned to consulting services when I realized I could help others leverage cloud technologies to support their mission. So really happy to be here. Back to you, Kaya.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. So for a little more context, here's a quick snapshot into Heller Consulting. We've been in the nonprofit and higher education technology world since 1996, and we've been an official Salesforce partner since 2008. We've implemented Salesforce for hundreds of organizations over those years, guiding teams through strategy, implementation, and post-launch support. We have a team of folks across the United States and Canada, all of whom come from nonprofit or higher education backgrounds. And they have certifications in project management, change management, and of course, all of those technical Salesforce certifications. We are proud to only serve nonprofit and higher education institutions, and we are also a certified B Corporation. And with that, let's talk a little bit about our agenda today. So we're going to be talking all about Education Cloud, and we're going to first talk about the options that you have when you're looking for advancement solutions on Salesforce. Then we're going to be talking about the key elements and key features of Education Cloud. Jennifer is going to guide us through a live demo so you can see inside Education Cloud, and then we will be giving you some advice for moving forward and answer any questions that you may have. Okay, Shane, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to make sure that all of you can see the deck here.
Great, just waiting for is the deck visible? There we go, great. Awesome, thank you, Kaya. So to start off today's discussion, I want to say that we really have great news for you all. Today, the marketplace offers higher education institutions so many choices of leading edge software and technology dedicated to fundraising and engagement. What is so exciting about today's technology is that they are purpose-built to support enterprise-level business processes that bring efficiencies to your operation. They help you deliver great constituent and donor experiences. And then ultimately, they improve fundraising outcomes. Today's webinar is going to showcase the advancement capabilities in Salesforce's new Education Cloud. But to help understand this new offering, it's really important, I think, that we take a moment to cover the current state of Salesforce advancement and the many different paths available to you. So currently, there are two paths you can take when deciding to use Salesforce CRM for advancement. The traditional path involves what we call managed packages, and this is denoted by the image on the left side of the screen. Managed packages and managed package solutions are built by third-party vendors and often provide industry-specific functionality. These packages sit on Salesforce and extend the platform to provide, in this case, advancement-specific capabilities like biodemo profiles, prospect management, campaign management, gift processing, and other advancement facets. Currently in the marketplace, there are two proven advancement managed packages available. The first one is called Ascend by UC Innovations. UC Innovations was recently acquired, and so they're going through a bit of a rebranding and are now known going forward as Kindsight, but their product is still called Ascend. And the other managed package available today in the Salesforce marketplace is called Advancement RM by a company called AffiniQuest. Both of these packages do an excellent job of adding advancement capabilities to Salesforce CRM. More than 100 enterprise customers have deployed either UCI Ascend or Advancement RM successfully as their central engaged advancement system. So that's the first path. The other path available to you involves Salesforce's new Education Cloud, which was released last year. It's purpose-built to provide expanded functionality across the student lifecycle. The lifecycle that includes recruitment, admissions, student success, alumni relations, and advancement. Unlike Ascend and Advancement RM, which are managed packages that sit on top of Salesforce, the advancement capabilities of Education Cloud are built right into Salesforce itself. It's now part of the core product. That being said, because both paths, the managed packages and the new Education Cloud, are built on Salesforce, your end users, such as gift officers, gift processors, maybe the finance team who's using Salesforce, their experience will look like Salesforce because it's all built on Salesforce. And to be honest, many UCI and AffiniQuest customers cannot really differentiate between what is core functionality on Salesforce and what is actually coming from the managed package. So deciding which path to follow is unique to each institution. In our experience, each organization brings with them a unique set of goals and objectives, their own existing technology infrastructure, and varying levels of appetites for change. And all that can influence the final decision. For example, if your campus already has a Salesforce footprint, up to date, up to now, a lot of colleges and universities are already using Salesforce for recruiting and enrollment, marketing, and overall engagement. So if they're already using Salesforce, this may impact which path is right for you. For example, if another stakeholder group on campus has already purchased the new Education Cloud for a completely different purpose, say, for example, student services, this may also impact your decision. In other words, you may be compelled or incentivized to use Education Cloud for advancement. All this is being said because having a partner like Heller Consulting can help you navigate this marketplace and help you make the best decision for your institution. So that being said, I want to hand this over to Jennifer, who will lead us through the demo.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, actually, as Shane was just saying, Education Cloud does have an expanded set of functionality that can speak to or focus on different parts of campus and different entities or teams or departments within your institution. So this is kind of a high level of some of those functional areas or departmental areas that Education Cloud speaks to or has features that work towards or fall under these umbrellas. I'm going to rattle off a handful of features just so that you can kind of understand some of the breadth of what's available, but I'm not going to go into a deep dive for any of them except for that core advancement functionality, which is the focus for today. So for recruitment and admissions, it includes features like an applicant portal where prospective students can learn more about your school in general, as well as the admissions process in particular, and actually start submitting their application, which can in turn be reviewed by the appropriate staff members as part of that all-important enrollment process. For student success, there's features around assigning students a success team, which can consist of advisors, counselors, mentors, or other staff who play a different role in helping engage with the student and make sure that they stay on track towards graduation. And that also includes features such as appointment scheduling, case tracking, and notes, so that as the student is moving through their degree program, there's a team of people who are kind of keeping tabs on them, communicating and engaging with them to help make sure that, like I said, that they stay on track. For academic operations, this is really just about understanding that full view of the student through their life cycle with your institution. So this is helping keep track of which learning programs a student is or was enrolled in, which courses they've taken, which degrees they're pursuing, and which degrees they've ultimately received from your institution. So all of those are features that can come out of the box with the Salesforce Education Cloud. And today we're focusing in on advancement and alumni relations. So this three set of features are really designed to provide functionality for three core areas of advancement. And again, this is definitely not an exhaustive list. I'm trying to focus on some of the highlights that hopefully speak to the needs that you have at your own institutions. But here's some of the kind of core functionality. Annual giving. So this has to do with being able to generate outreach source codes, keep track of appeals, mailings, direct response, any type of kind of mass fundraising efforts that you're targeting a broad set of alumni or other supporters. Those also include roll-up summary functionality so that you can aggregate the response rates and the performance of each of those efforts, as well as robust segmentation capabilities that are provided by Salesforce's Data Cloud offering to help make sure that you're targeting the right messaging and the right channels and the right approaches with the potential donors and the alumni who will be most responsive to them. When it comes to high touch fundraising, this is where we're talking about donors who are being cultivated and guided through the moves management cycle by gift officers or relationship managers. And so that includes features like donor profiles, interest tagging, prospect portfolio management, so being able to quickly see who's in a gift officer's portfolio and manage the moves and statuses for the prospects within that portfolio. And last, we have advancement operations. So kind of the backbone and heavy data users of the system. These are going to be the folks who are responsible for actual gift entry, data hygiene, like updating addresses or phone numbers, other contact information, and the associated processes with that, including batch gift entry, split gifts, tribute gifts, soft credits, receipting, acknowledgements. There's a whole bunch of meat that comes under the advancement operations umbrella. I should also note, and I added a little asterisk next to the term campaigns up at the top, that campaigns might actually be like a through line across all of these functional areas, because when you start thinking about how all teams within advancement, or all facets of advancement, really need to align and work together when your institution is in its campaign cycle, that all of these are in support of and work together to help you perform well and effectively and efficiently when you're in campaign, to help meet those campaign capital campaign fundraising targets, those all important targets. So there is campaign functionality that's kind of carved off for more, I don't know, low level or annual giving, smaller donors, but it definitely can also be extended to help your institution track and manage your larger capital campaigns as well. All right, so with no further ado, we're going to switch presenters, and it's going to go very smoothly for me to take over the presenter role from Kaya so that I can start showing you the advancement capabilities. And let me make sure, can you see Salesforce?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. All right. So right away, I've logged in and I'm in my advancement app, and this is my advancement homepage. So I have to call out, these home pages are very configurable. And I think one thing that Salesforce customers love doing is tailoring what people see, what users see on the homepage based on the type of user that they are and the type of role that they have at your organization. So I've tailored this for an advancement view. But if there's other areas on campus who are also using Salesforce, they might log in and see a completely different set of information as part of their homepage that might be more geared towards the recruitment and admissions process, like understanding how many students or prospective students are in that applicant pool, for example. But right now, we're focusing on advancement, so that's what I'm seeing here. So I've added a dashboard so that I can start immediately seeing relevant information around the top opportunities that I'm managing, what types of opportunities and what are the amounts of the opportunities in my pipeline, which stage in the moves management process are all of those opportunities in, and how am I tracking against my all-important campaign goals. These dashboards also are very configurable. They're tied directly to Salesforce reports. This can also be augmented by Salesforce's CRM analytics capabilities. If you want to get even, bigger and fancier with what types of insights you have people seeing on their homepage. So it's very configurable, but it's really easy to show people relevant, actionable, and useful information straight away when they've logged in. Likewise, I can see a list of the recent account records that my user has interacted with, as well as tasks that are assigned to me, my user in the system. So again, this is really the one-stop shop and a very actionable place for people to land when they log into the CRM, and they're able to immediately start seeing things that they can start interacting with or following up on or performing in the system. Next, I'm going to pull up Sophia alumni, a typical alumnus of my institution. So right away, this is a really, really robust profile, a really robust alumni profile. There's a lot of information packed into this screen. Just like the homepage, it is configurable. So if this is too much, you could decide that you might need to narrow down and not have so much information immediately visible on the alumni profile page. Or, the more the merrier. Different organizations might take different approaches to what the configuration of these screens looks like. But right away, I can start seeing a useful overview of who Sophia alumni is, her contact information, an About Me section, her birth date, age, and as well as things like address, email, phone number, location. So I immediately have information about Sophia that I can start leveraging. Over on the left, I can see a fundraising timeline. So this keeps track of the different fundraising or advancement related transactions, gifts, proposals, pledges, and how those fall over time so that I can very easily see what some of her recent activities were in the fundraising sphere. Right in the middle of the page, I have an action launcher. So this is, again, really geared towards helping users very quickly and effectively do the tasks that they need to perform. So I can create a case if there's like a question or a concern that Sophia has raised that might require some follow-up, or think of kind of donor support type activities. I can add a task if I need to remind myself to reach out to Sophia with certain information, or ask her to schedule a meeting or schedule a call, and I can send her an email directly from Salesforce, and that will also be logged in the system automatically. I'm also able to see life events, so this gives me just a really great snapshot view of some of the highlights of Sophia's life, so that right away I'm able to see and understand where is this person in their relationship to the institution. So I can see that she enrolled and graduated. I can see where she's employed and where she's living. So these might be useful tidbits of information to help me make a connection with her and encourage her to give to the institution. Down below, I can actually see and track information such as her income and assets and what giving she might have given to other organizations. Again, just trying to understand a little bit more about her propensity and capacity to give to our institution. And I can see a more granular view of some of those same records that showed up in the fundraising timeline. So I can see specific transactions, both paid and unpaid. I can see that she has an active pledge that she made. And right now she doesn't have any soft credits associated with her. The opportunity is where I would track essentially a proposal or a potential gift. So this is what a gift officer would use to really cultivate and work with Sophia to define her giving priorities and make sure that we put together a proposal that aligned with those priorities as well as the institution. You'll have a place to track your contact reports. So as you engage with Sophia and interact with her, you'll have a place to keep track of all of those notes and follow-up items all in one place. I'm able to see her relationships, so I can see that Sophia has a spouse who's also in the system, and this list can expand as more relationships are captured between Sophia and other alumni, other people in her network, to see if there's anything that we can do to leverage those relationships. And I can see her academic history, her person academic credentials. So I can see that she received a BS in computer science in 2003. So that's a lot of information packed in there. I've also got interest tags where I can keep track of what are the things that Sophia is interested in. Maybe it's something that could be useful for a solicitation. Maybe it's something that I could just help keep her engaged with the institution, invite her to a football game, see if she's interested in purchasing tickets, see if there's a webinar that the college is doing on machine learning. Whatever it is, I can track those in the system. And one cool thing I like about the interest tags is if you click on one, you can also start seeing which records have the same tag. So if other individuals or other records are related to the same interest, it's very easy to quickly start kind of cross-pollinating that information and seeing how you can leverage it. And on the right, I see her kind of snapshot donor details in terms of her overall giving history. So these are roll-ups that they do come out of the box in Education Cloud, but they can also be tailored if you want to create your own calculations or statistics that you want to track. And those will usually update on a nightly basis. like I said, a lot of information is packed into this alumni profile. We really want to make sure that users are able to quickly understand the 360-degree view of who is Sophia, what is she doing with our org, what is she interested in, how do I get in touch with her. So next, I'm going to look at a campaign record. So in Salesforce, campaigns can represent kind of the macro level, all-encompassing advancement efforts of your institution, as well as some of the more granular individual appeals that you might send out on a monthly basis or on a more frequent basis, and the relationships between that micro and macro as well. So this would be our capital campaign, the kind of umbrella effort of a really, ambitious fundraising goal to build new buildings and, new institutions or new institutes or centers, really robust student scholarships and support funding, everything under the sun that's an important priority for your school. Would fall under the big capital campaign. And down here on the right, I can see a campaign hierarchy where those individual efforts are nested underneath my capital campaign. Again, I'm able to start tagging these so that I can start associating certain keywords with an individual record. And here I can assign optionally what's called a gift default designation so that as gift transactions are actually processed, they would by default be associated with, in this case, my general fund, although we'll see when I get into gift entry that that's something that can be overridden if the default doesn't apply on a gift by gift basis. So next I'm going to dig into my spring appeal here. So again, this is going to be a more granular appeal effort that fits within that big institutional cross-campus campaign. And so I'm able to track both as well as the relationship between them. I can track discrete tags as well as discrete default designations that don't have to be inherited from that parent campaign if it's not appropriate. And here's where I can start getting even deeper into the weeds and even more granular with more specific outreach source codes to track individual messages, individual emails, or certain channel messaging, as well as individual fundraising segments. So you can get very, very detailed in knowing, who's getting what type of fundraising message, which channel is it coming from, or which attempt if it's multiple attempts, and all of that will roll up in these outreach summary statistics to the campaign. And again, these do come out of the box in kind of a template calculation version, and those calculations can be modified on an institution by institution basis if you decide to calculate things or you have your own criteria or rules for what needs to be counted and how. All right. Next, I'm going to shift focus again, and I'm going to look at from a kind of gift officer perspective. This is how I start seeing and managing my portfolio. So this is what's called an actionable list in Salesforce. And so I can quickly see that I have been assigned this set of records in the system. Each one of them has a different status or stage of where they are in my fundraising process with them or my relationship with them. And I can quickly start seeing some of their contact information. So theoretically, maybe I have this Robert Schmidt individual in a qualification status at the moment. Maybe I've given him a phone call, I've started having some conversations to see what his interests are and if there might be some alignment between his interests and our fundraising priorities. And I can very quickly update his status and move him into the cultivation stage. So this is going to be a great kind of hub for those gift officers or relationship managers to see who's in their pipeline, and the columns that are visible here are also configurable. So if you need to highlight different pieces of information to make this list even more actionable for your giving officers, that's definitely something that they'll be leveraging on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to go back to Sophia, and we're going to look at the other side of that moves management process, which is the actual opportunity, which, as I mentioned, really represents a potential giving proposal. So this is Sophia's proposal for a scholarship endowment that we think that she might be interested in giving a donation for. So right away, I can start seeing some of the actual actions or activities that have taken place with regards to this proposal. So those are shown right out in the front page. I don't, again, as usual, the page layouts are configurable. So if you'd rather see the details of the proposal instead of the activity around the proposal first, that's a very quick change to make. And I can see the details of what type of gift this is, which stage it's in, the proposed amount, how long it's been in the current stage, and when my planned ask date and close date are. So over time, as I'm working with Sophia to have discussions and kind of cultivate her potential to give here, I can see that Salesforce is automatically tracking that stage history over time, and it's super easy to update the stage from one to the next. So now she's in the solicitation stage, and we're just going to assume that she already accepted my proposal, because of course she did. So it's very, very easy for users to very quickly align the moves management conversations and discussions that they're having with prospects and donors into the way that they're interacting with the system and capturing that activity. As I update that stage, the probability also updates accordingly as she's moving up that pipeline and more likely to give. So next, I'm going to show that Sophia does have an active pledge. It's a smaller pledge, but she does have an active one that she made last year. And so these gift commitment records are what allow you to track gift commitments. So it includes both pledges as well as recurring gifts. Anything that has sort of a schedule of some sort associated with it, even if it's an irregular schedule, that's totally okay. But where there's more than one transaction that's part of this promise to give. So I can very quickly see that this was a recurring gift for $500, and I can start seeing that schedule of upcoming transactions, as well as that there was one that was unpaid left over from last year. It's also very easy to perform upgrades and downgrades if she decides, hey, I've been giving you $25 a month for some time. I think it's time to kick that up to 50. Just quickly update that transaction amount, and I can set an effective start date for when that change is planned to take effect. I'll just go ahead and say today, and I will confirm. So it's super easy to make that upgrade happen. All right, and last but not least, I'm gonna shift gears into batch gift entry. Go over to my gift batches and click new. So Education Cloud does come with a sort of default template batch for, a default entry template for processing these gifts in a batch. And as a template implies, it's definitely configurable. So it's a starting point for you to build upon. You can have multiple templates or just one depending on your needs. So here I'm going to enter a gift count, and I'll just keep it simple and do two $200 transactions. And you can optionally enforce whether Salesforce requires your entered gifts to match your estimated gifts here, just for some extra validation. All right, so I'm going to start doing new gift entry, individual, and now I'm going to start searching for Sophia. And right away, as I enter Sophia's information, it's starting to pull in her donor details directly from her existing record. So if I do need to make any changes to her email address or her phone numbers or where she's physically located, her name, I can start making those changes right away without needing to navigate to a different screen. I can say that I received a gift today. And because she does have a gift commitment, but I think that the date that it was expected was in June. Yeah, here we go. So if you enter a gift received date that matches within a certain kind of plus or minus days from the expected transaction date of one of her gift commitments, it'll tell me, hey, she's got an open pledge. Is this a pledge payment? So it very easily allows gift processors to make those connections between the transactions that are coming in and commitments that are already in place. So I am going to go ahead and apply this gift to this particular pledge. Here's where I can make the connection between this particular transaction and the source codes and campaigns that this transaction is being made in support of or in response to. And I will say this is $50 via check. And this is another kind of dynamic field. So depending on which payment method I select, it might give me different fields to populate with some of the kind of details that are associated with each payment method. But I will keep it as a check for now. And I'll say maybe the check date is today. And remember when I was showing those default designations, so this is being inherited from the pledge commitment that she's made, which has a default designation. I am able to either add additional designations and if she wants to split her gift for more than one purpose, or I can remove this one and select a new one from scratch. It's super easy to just add a row, decide this is going to go half and half towards the scholarship fund and the general fund. And it does the math for you based on those percentages, or you can change the amounts and the percentages update. And it's so easy to just add a soft credit in here for Thomas. I'll just say soft credit. He's a household member, he's her spouse, and I'll say that he's getting 100% of the credit, which is of course the sum of each of these splits, that $50. One nice thing here is that I can actually, now that I've entered all of these details for this one gift, I can choose, I don't have to, choose to set these as a default. So if you have a batch of transactions that have a lot of the same details, like if they're all associated with the same appeal or the same event, by setting it as default, that's going to limit the number of values that a gift processor needs to enter for each row in the batch. So it's nice and easy to speed things up. Let's see, save that. Now we're moving into my next row, and you can see at the top that as I'm entering gifts, it tells me, okay, I've entered one out of my estimated two, I've entered $50 out of my estimated 200. So it keeps tabs as I go. And I'll do just one more gift, and we're going to go with Benjamin this time. Again, it pulls in his donor details, choose a date. In this case, Ben doesn't have any matching gift commitments. I'll select another source code, and this source code automatically pulls in the spring appeal because that's what it's associated with, that's what it's a part of. And this one's going to be $150, payment info. Again, I have that default designation. Maybe this time I'll just add a new one. He's going to give to the College of Arts and Sciences at 100% and no soft credit this time. All right. Great, so that's my whole batch. That's all I expected to enter here. I'm going to refresh this page just to make sure I can see those entries. I can see those entries and they start out with what's called this gift processing status of new. I'm going to click process batch. Tells me it's in progress. It warns me that it can take some time, but because this is such a small batch, it's actually not going to take that long. Of course, the bigger the batch, the more time that it will take, but hopefully when I click refresh, they've moved to success. So that means that if I pop back over to Sophia's record and start looking at her pledges, here I can see, whoop, in the fundraising timeline, I can see that $50 commitment, and likewise, I can see in the gift transactions her commitment here. And because I associated her $50 transaction with her existing pledge, I can also see that it updated the total paid transaction amount here as well. So that's the end of my demo today. I kind of ran the gamut from, talking about the big picture and talking about the campaign, all of that information that's available on Sophia's profile at just a few clicks away, depending on whether you want to see pledges or contact reports or relationships, all the way down to the gift processing and how easy it was to process my batch. So I'm going to pass it back to Kaya.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jennifer. Just one moment. All right, fantastic. So
Right.
Shane, let's turn it over to you and talk about
Yeah.
some of the benefits of Salesforce.
Yeah, jumping back on camera. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Jennifer. That was a great demo. I hope everyone who's participating today got a good sense of what Education Cloud can offer you from an advancement capability perspective. So generally, when we talk about the benefits of Salesforce, we're talking about all Salesforce. So regardless of if you're using a managed package or you're using Education Cloud, the benefits are all the same because of you're on Salesforce. And some of those benefits are that we appreciate is number one, you're getting access to the most powerful CRM technology in today's market. There's 3 major releases a year. There's constant innovation built into the product and the platform. They're constantly adding enhanced features and really just adding more functionality over time. So that's great. The other benefit of Salesforce is something that gets overlooked, but there's a whole universe of support people in the Salesforce ecosystem. System admins, developers, consultants like Heller, who can really help you configure the system for requirements that are potentially hyper-specific to your specific organization. And a lot of that innovation and configuration is built by clicks, not code mentality, so that the changes you're making to the system are easier to maintain over time. That's a big deal for most institutions. Another great thing that we've seen talking about managed packages is the fact that there's a whole ecosystem of third-party vendors and products who offer easy integration capabilities via products in the App Exchange or other connectors, which can help keep your data centralized and help solve distinct business needs from like address verification to payment processing to project management, so on and so forth. So this whole ecosystem just offers you the ability of adding additional functionality to your system. And what's great about all that is that these managed packages and these other native applications, they oftentimes bring industry-specific functionality, or they can provide you a way to accelerate the implementation of new functionality so that you can increase your time to value with all these pre-built solutions.
All right,
Yes, sorry,
fantastic.
thanks.
Hi, everyone. So we're going to start our questions portion of this hour. And first, I'm going to start with my own question, which is for organizations that are sort of considering or they're in the market for advancement solutions on Salesforce. They're looking at Education Cloud. What advice do you have for those organizations looking to move forward?
I'll go first. My answer is one, there's so much functionality, and even just talking about Education Cloud, even setting aside things like the App Exchange and the whole Salesforce ecosystem, Education Cloud has functionality that speaks to so many departments on campus. It's very easy to kind of get overwhelmed and feel like, whoa, 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 there's so much, I have to implement everything at once. It's a huge endeavor. Slow down. It's okay. You don't actually have to do everything at once. Salesforce itself is designed to be expanded upon and enhanced over time. So kind of breaking that big scary project into smaller, more manageable chunks is a really more practical and less scary way of thinking about what those next steps might be. And in particular, Education Cloud itself is going through a lot of change very quickly right now. And so just kind of paying attention to what those announcements are coming from Salesforce at conferences like at Dreamforce or Education Summit, paying attention to the release notes, talking to other peers in the space, whether it's an organization like Heller or a Salesforce AE or another institution who's either already on Salesforce or in a same boat considering Salesforce, just kind of figuring out like what are other people doing or what is the best way of approaching it, but don't feel like you have to do everything all at once, like it's your one shot. I promise you, breaking it up into smaller pieces makes it more manageable for everyone.
Yeah, I have some thoughts here, and that's a great set of advice, Jennifer, about phasing things in consumable bite-sized chunks is always beneficial to a lot of organizations because it just takes a lot of time, oftentimes some money and energy to get these things done. So trying to do it in a rational sense is super important. One of the things I think about when you think about implementing a product on Salesforce, either be it a managed package or this new education cloud, I'd like to provide advice around not thinking about what the product or platform does provide, but oftentimes it's very important to think about what it doesn't have. So what the gaps are in the functionality. And that's an important exercise to go through. The ability to analyze the gaps in each of the products relative to your requirements, because then you have to determine what the prioritization around those gaps. Do you need those gaps filled? And if you need those gaps filled to meet your business requirements, then what level of effort are going to be required to fill those gaps? And it either be done with configuration or custom development, but you need to understand that because that directly impacts the budget you need to spend to create a solution at the end of the day that you go live with that'll fulfill your business requirements. If Salesforce, there's a lot of key questions you have to answer or ask and get answers from, and then oftentimes you're not going to know the best answer to those questions, and that's where we come in. Heller Consulting is here to help you think through all these next steps, no matter where you are in your decision-making process. We'll certainly at the end of this deck, we'll provide you with some contact information of who to reach out to if you have any questions or want to further discuss your particular situation.
Fantastic. Thank you both. And then we'll go into questions from you all. So we had several of you asking questions specific to Blackbaud and Razor's Edge. So I thought I'd kind of combine them all into one general question. And maybe Jennifer, if you want to start of just like folks that are coming from Blackbaud systems and that are looking to move to Salesforce, do you have any specific advice around that?
Yes. One, we've done a lot of Razor's Edge and Blackbaud CRM migrations to Salesforce. So I think don't underestimate how different it is. It's very different. It's a whole new world. I think a lot of it starts with terminology. There's some things that are called the same between Blackbaud and Salesforce, but maybe they mean different things or they work different ways. There's some terminology that's just brand new that takes some adjustment and learning and repetition for users to understand and adopt. So definitely because of that level of change, and terminology is the start, but it's not the end of that. Include change management and plan for a robust, training, enablement, and onboarding and adoption plan because of that. Because for your users, it's a world of difference. And that's how you'll make sure that when they're live in the shiny new system, that they will know what to do and feel successful and supported in doing that.
That's great. Shane, do you have anything else that you would add there?
Yeah, it's always one of the things and it's not just saying maybe just isolated to Blackbaud, but when you're trying to move from a legacy system to a new system, there's always going to be challenges around how to map that data from the source system to the new system. So don't underestimate, to use Jennifer's terminology, the level of effort sometimes to transform your data into a new data model. we have plenty of customers who are coming from the black bot space who spend a considerable amount of energy prior to implementation of Salesforce, just cleaning up their data, just making sure that they understand what data they have, what's important to them, because not all data needs to be migrated. Even though we think we have to keep it all, you'll find that there's a lot of stuff that you just haven't used in decades sometimes. And so it's just not pertinent information that needs to be moved over to the new system. So going through all that discussion, just being prepared to make decisions around your data will be super helpful, because there's never enough time to do all the data that you want to do in general. So it's super important to get kind of a head start on some of that stuff.
That's great advice. Yeah, kind of getting a jump start before you start the project and the migration. Another question that we had was around the difference between Education Cloud and Marketing Cloud. So I think if maybe Jennifer, if you want to talk about maybe some of the clouds that are talked about in the Salesforce world,
Yeah.
and distinguish those quickly, that would be
A lot of
great.
clouds.
Yeah, I do think Salesforce has done a good job of making themselves synonymous with clouds, although it can get a little bit confusing to keep track of them sometimes. So you might hear Education Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Data Cloud, I know I mentioned earlier. All of these are kind of different flavors of Salesforce product offerings. And as some of those names might imply, they tend to be kind of geared towards different industries, with Education Cloud being geared towards the education sector. Marketing Cloud, sometimes that's used as an umbrella term to actually refer to a few different products within that Marketing Cloud umbrella. So it might be Marketing Cloud, or it might be Marketing Cloud Account Engagement. There's also now Marketing Cloud Growth. So whether you're talking to Heller or whether you're talking to Salesforce AE, your Salesforce AE, people can help steer you in the right direction depending on, how robust is your marketing program? What types of channels do you need to support? What type of functionality are you looking for in terms of constituent journeys? And that might help funnel you into one of those product offerings versus another. But the nice thing about Salesforce's cloud framework, if you will, is that all of the clouds are designed to play nicely with one another. So they can usually be leveraged in conjunction with one another. The nice thing about Education Cloud in particular, in this new built on core philosophy, which I think is what has enabled some of these new features and functionalities. A lot of it's kind of under the hood, so maybe only your system administrator will really know the nitty-gritty differences. But there's a lot of really cool new features that are part of this Education Cloud offering, this new Education Cloud offering, that are helping enable those roll-up summaries and the giving calculations and the robust segmentation that comes with Data Cloud. So all of these clouds are in the sky playing nicely together, but those terms generally refer to the different product offerings that are marketed at different industries.
Wonderful. Great explanation, Jennifer. Thank you. Shane, maybe this one could be for you, of sort of a comparison question of how does Salesforce Education Cloud compare to CRM options that are not Salesforce? And this person's mentioning Slate. So is there, sort of, there's other options out there. So, kind of how do you see Salesforce fitting into the overall market?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier in my segment of the webinar, there's just a lot of options out there. I mean, there's a lot of options on Salesforce already. We talked about 3 different options on Salesforce for advancement, and then you add in all the other platforms that are both legacy and innovative. So you think about Slate, you think about Anthology, and then Blackbot has their complete suite of fundraising tool sets. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. The way I think about it, and I think about Slate specifically, is it kind of depends. The platform that's right for you oftentimes is determined upon just how complex your operation really is, and how much expansion you expect to occur over the life of that investment in that new platform. The great thing about Slate is that it offers this, foundational fundraising for advancement operations. It's pretty straightforward. It offers everything you might need to be able to reach out to donors, cultivate them, move them through moves management, you know, manage a gift transaction and report off of it. But on the Slate side, you're stuck with sort of how they look about it, how they look at fundraising and how they built fundraising. There's very little opportunity for you to customize it around your specific business processes. A lot of institutions are okay with that because they have a basic approach to fundraising and they like what Slate has. But if you're in operations where you have a lot of complex business processes, you have a lot of complex donor profiles and how you interact and engage with donors, and you think you have unique business processes, unique to your institution, then you may find that Slate won't be able to cover all of the applications you need for you to go to market. So you'll need a platform that's more robust, like a Salesforce, to be able to do the basics, but then expand to your unique business processes to cover all of your bases.
Wonderful. Thank you, Shane. So we're about at 5 minutes left, so I'm going to start wrapping us up here. But thank you all to those of you that submitted questions. And I will be sending all of you the recording and the slides from today's presentation, as well as some additional resources that our team has put together here. If you have an immediate need or you have a project that you'd like to discuss, I encourage you to get in touch with Shane. His contact information is listed on the screen here. That's going to be the fastest way to get help from Heller. And with that, I will just say thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Shane and Jennifer. And if Heller can be any help with, helping decide which advancement solution is right for you, we're happy to have that conversation. So thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.